So one thing I heard you say on another podcast, it was on the Nathan Latka show you mentioned, and I think this was not so long ago, I think it was in maybe Q3 of last year,
Okay.
and he was asking you about if you'd sell the company. And you said no, you said I wouldn't sell the company. And he asked you the question, what would you value the company? And you said at the time, I think you were 2 million ARR. And you said, well, if I'm being fair, it's like roughly 5 times. And I think you came up with a number of like 7 to 8 million, I think is what you said. And this is like not long ago. And you now got a term sheet for like 100 million valuation. So how do you reconcile that? Like what happened?
Yeah, I think actually it's a super point like you're mentioning, because I think like what's really important for companies to understand, and also like how like valuation works, because on the side of Lemlist, we also built another tool like Lempod that after 18 months we actually exited and the company got acquired. So I really got into like how SaaS businesses are valued when they are actually acquired versus when they raise funds, and the difference is basically huge, because once essentially like a VC gives you a valuation of your company, you value the company in the future. So for example, when you get like 30 million investment at I don't know, like $100 million valuation, it doesn't mean that your company is valued at $100 million. It's at $100 million. It means that essentially after you take the money and after you spend that money and grow, etc., we think that your company will be valued at potentially like 100 million or more. And that's basically the entire game with VC. Whereas when you try to sell your company, and usually you sell it to either entrepreneurs or like it can be private equity firm, or sometimes like either like other companies, it's very like straightforward, much more financial. So it's like what type of assets do you have? They try to never value brand, because for them it's difficult, so they like to stick to numbers. And then after that, it's like in the end, again, like the value of a company is the price that someone is willing to pay. But still, like I think you should always keep in mind that for SaaS, depending on where you stand in ARR, but it's always like a multiple of the ARR, and yeah.